Ever wonder why you're constantly drawn to the wrong people? Those who hurt, ignore, or drain you dry? Here's the thing nobody wants to tell you. It's not random, and it's definitely not your fault. But it is your responsibility to understand what's happening in your brain. In the next 10 minutes, you'll discover the hidden psychology behind your attractions. More importantly, you'll learn how to finally take control of your love life instead of letting your subconscious run the show. Because right now your nervous system is making decisions your conscious mind doesn't even know about. Let me show you how to fix it. Attraction isn't about logic. Never has been. Never will be. While you're up there thinking you're making rational choices about who you date, your subconscious mind is running the show like a puppet master you can't see. Your nervous system was programmed before you could even speak, before you knew what love was supposed to feel like. And that programming, it's been calling the shots ever since. Here's the kicker: what feels familiar to your nervous system gets mistaken for love by your conscious mind. That comfortable chaos, that predictable unpredictability, your brain thinks that's home. But home was never supposed to feel like a war zone. Think about it. You meet someone who makes your heart race, your palms sweat, your thoughts spin in circles. You call it chemistry. But what if I told you that feeling isn't love? What if it's just your nervous system recognizing a pattern it learned in childhood? Your subconscious doesn't care if that pattern is healthy. It only cares if it's familiar. And familiar feels safe to a brain that equates the unknown with danger. So you keep choosing the same type of person, wondering why the relationship always ends the same way. It's like playing the same song on repeat and expecting different lyrics. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Welcome to modern dating. The bad boy, the bad girl, the rebel with a cause you'll never quite understand. They walk into a room and suddenly everyone else looks boring, predictable, safe. And safe is the enemy of excitement. Right, wrong. Let me ask you something. Are you actually attracted to confidence, or are you attracted to chaos? Because there's a difference. A big one. Real confidence doesn't need to prove itself by breaking rules or breaking hearts. Real confidence is quiet, steady. It doesn't need your validation because it's already validated from within. But chaos is addictive. It keeps you on your toes. It makes you feel alive because you're constantly in fight or flight mode. Your nervous system interprets that stress as excitement. Dr. Madeline Fugere has spent years studying this phenomenon. She found that people who are attracted to bad types aren't actually attracted to the badness. They're attracted to the confidence that often comes with rule-breaking behavior. But here's the plot twist. They end up getting the chaos without the genuine confidence. It's like ordering a luxury car and getting a shopping cart with racing stripes. These relationships rarely offer stability. They offer a temporary thrill followed by a permanent headache. You think you're dating James Dean, but you end up with someone who can't even commit to a Netflix series, let alone a relationship. The truth is you're not trying to date them, you're trying to fix them. And fixing people isn't love. It's a project, and projects have deadlines. Love doesn't. Here's where it gets really twisted. You meet someone amazing, someone who actually likes you back, someone who texts you back within reasonable time frames and doesn't play mind games. And what do? You get bored. You self-sabotage. You start chasing someone who treats you like an option while you're treating them like a priority. Welcome to the rejection high. Helen Fisher's research on brain chemistry shows us something fascinating and terrifying. When someone rejects us, our brains release dopamine, the same chemical that gets released when we're anticipating a reward. You're literally getting high off of being treated poorly. Your brain thinks it's playing a slot machine, and every small sign of attention is a jackpot that keeps you pulling the lever. This is where anxious attachment comes in. If you grew up having to earn love, having to prove your worth, having to be perfect to avoid abandonment, then relationships where you have to chase feel normal. You don't want easy love because easy love doesn't feel real. It doesn't activate that familiar pattern of having to work for affection. But here's what nobody tells you. The people who make you chase them aren't more valuable. They're not prizes to be won. They're people with their own issues who've learned that withholding attention gives them power. And you're giving them that power every time you chase. These imbalanced dynamics leave you constantly proving your worth to someone who's already decided you're not worth their full attention. It's like auditioning for a role in a play that's never going to start. The solution isn't learning better chase techniques. The solution is learning to value yourself enough that you don't need to chase anyone. Self-validation is a skill, and like any skill, it gets stronger with practice. Start treating your own opinion of yourself as the most important one in the room. Because it is. Now we're getting into the deep stuff. The stuff that makes you uncomfortable because it hits too close to home. Ever notice how you keep dating people who remind you of your parents? Not in looks, necessarily, but in energy. In the way they make you feel. This is called imprint attraction, and it's more common than you think. Your brain forms templates for what love looks like based on your earliest relationships. Usually with your caregivers. If your father was emotionally unavailable, you might find yourself attracted to emotionally unavailable partners. If your mother was critical, you might be drawn to people who make you feel like you're never quite good enough. Your subconscious mind thinks this feels like home. This must be love. But home was never supposed to feel like you're walking on eggshells. This isn't fate. This isn't destiny. This is familiarity dressed up as romance. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. I had a client who kept dating women who were just like his mother. Beautiful, intelligent, and completely unable to give him the emotional support he needed. He thought he had a type. What he actually had was unfinished business. Every relationship was an attempt to finally get the love he didn't receive as a child. But you can't heal childhood wounds through adult relationships. That's not how healing works. The pattern will repeat until you become conscious of it. And consciousness is the first step toward choice. Once you're aware that you're unconsciously seeking your childhood blueprint in your adult relationships, you can start making different choices. You can start choosing partners based on who they are now, not who they remind you of from your past. This is the hardest section to write because it's the most painful to face. But we're going there because someone needs to hear this. Sometimes we're not just attracted to the wrong people. We're attracted to people who hurt us, and we call it love. This isn't about physical abuse, though that's certainly part of it for some. This is about emotional patterns that keep us stuck in cycles of pain disguised as passion. You know what I'm talking about. The relationship that felt like a drug. The person who could make you feel like you were flying one moment and crashing the next. The highs were incredible, but the lows almost killed you, and you kept going back because the highs felt worth the lows. Because chaos felt more real than peace. This is trauma bonding. It's your nervous system confusing intensity with intimacy. It's mistaking the chemical cocktail of stress hormones for love. Here's what's really happening. If you experience trauma in your early relationships, your nervous system learned to associate love with danger. Safety feels boring because it doesn't activate the familiar stress response. Your body learned to equate with connection. You're not attracted to toxic people because you're broken. You're attracted to them because toxicity feels familiar, and familiar feels safe to a nervous system that learned love comes with conditions, drama, and the constant threat of abandonment. This is validation addiction. You need their approval because their disapproval feels like death. You've outsourced your self-worth to someone who's using it as a weapon against you. There's also fear of intimacy hiding underneath this pattern. Real intimacy requires vulnerability, and vulnerability feels dangerous when you've been hurt before. So you choose people who are emotionally unavailable because they can't get close enough to hurt you the way you've been hurt before. Except they do hurt you, just in different ways. Recognizing these patterns is the first step to healing. The second step is understanding that healthy relationships aren't supposed to feel like an emotional roller coaster. Healthy relationships feel safe. They feel calm. They feel like coming home to yourself, not losing yourself in someone else's chaos. If the relationship feels like a drug, you're not in love. You're an addiction. And like any addiction, the first step to recovery is admitting you have a problem. Here's the good news. You're not stuck with the attraction patterns you currently have. Your attachment style isn't permanent. It can evolve. You can rewire your attraction system, but it takes work. First, you need self-awareness. Start paying attention to your patterns. Who are you attracted to? What do they have in common? How do they make you feel? Not just the good feelings, but the uncomfortable ones too. Journal about your relationships, not just the romantic ones, but all of them. Look for themes. Look for patterns that started in childhood and are still playing out in your adult life. Get therapy. I know. Everyone says get therapy. But seriously, get therapy. A good therapist can help you see blind spots you can't see yourself. They can help you understand why you're attracted to certain types of people and give you tools to choose differently. Learn emotional regulation. Most people who are attracted to toxic relationships never learn how to manage their own emotions. They're constantly looking for someone else to make them feel better or worse. Learn to be your own emotional support system first. Meditation helps. Breathwork helps. Anything that helps you develop a relationship with your own inner state without needing someone else to validate or fix it. Start developing secure attachment patterns. This means learning to trust that love doesn't have to be earned, that you're worthy of love just as you are, that healthy relationships involve two whole people choosing to be together, not two broken people trying to complete each other. Practice setting boundaries. If you're attracted to people who don't respect your boundaries, you need to get very clear on what your boundaries are and practice enforcing them. Start small. Practice saying no to things you don't want to do. Practice expressing your needs without apologizing for having them. Practice taking up space in your own life. Now, what does healthy attraction actually look like? It's probably different from what you've been experiencing. Healthy attraction feels calm, not boring, but calm. There's excitement, but it comes from discovering someone amazing, not from trying to solve a puzzle that has no solution. You feel better about yourself when you're with them, not worse. They add to your life instead of taking away from it. You don't have to perform or pretend to be someone else to keep their attention. There's mutuality. They're as interested in you as you are in them. You're not constantly wondering where you stand because they make it clear through their actions, not just their words. There's trust. You don't have to check their phone or wonder what they're doing when you're not together. You don't have to compete with other people for their attention because they've chosen you and they act like it. The relationship enhances your life instead of consuming it. You still have your own friends, your own interests, your own goals. You don't lose yourself in the relationship because the relationship makes space for who you are. This might sound boring compared to the intensity you're used to. That's your nervous system talking. Intensity isn't passion. It's often trauma. Real passion is sustainable. It builds over time instead of burning out quickly. Here's something interesting. People who are securely attached are actually better in bed. They're more present, more communicative, more willing to be vulnerable. They don't use sex as a weapon or a way to manipulate emotions. Healthy attraction also means being attracted to someone's character, not just their potential. You like who they are now, not who you think they could become if they just changed a few things. You're attracted to their consistency, their reliability, their ability to show up for themselves and others. You're attracted to their emotional intelligence, their ability to handle conflict, their capacity for growth. This doesn't mean settling. It means upgrading your standards from surface-level excitement to deep-level compatibility. Start by becoming the kind of person you want to attract. If you want someone emotionally available, work on your own emotional availability. If you want someone who has their life together, get your own life together. Like attracts like, not always, but often enough that it's worth working on yourself first. Stop trying to fix people. I can't stress this enough. You are not a rehabilitation center for emotionally unavailable people. You are not a therapist for people who refuse to get therapy. You are not a parent for grown adults who won't take responsibility for their own lives. Your job is to love people as they are, not as who you think they could become. If who they are isn't compatible with what you need, that's not a project to take on. That's information to act on. Start trusting your gut. That voice that tells you something is off, listen to it. That feeling that tells you someone isn't right for you, trust it. Your intuition has access to information your conscious mind hasn't processed yet. Stop making excuses for people's behavior. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Don't wait for the second, third, or 15th time. Actions speak louder than words, always. Someone can tell you they love you while treating you like you're disposable. Someone can say they want a relationship while acting like they want a situationship. Pay attention to what they do, not what they say. Raise your standards. This doesn't mean becoming shallow or superficial. It means knowing your worth and refusing to accept less than you deserve. You deserve someone who chooses you every day, not someone who keeps you as an option while they figure out what they really want. You deserve someone who communicates clearly, not someone who speaks in riddles and expects you to decode their mixed signals. You deserve someone who adds value to your life, not someone who drains your energy and leaves you feeling empty. You deserve love that feels like peace, not war. Practice being alone and enjoying it. If you can't be happy alone, you'll accept anyone's company just to avoid facing yourself. Learn to be your own best companion first. Take up hobbies. Develop interests. Build a life you love so much that you're selective about who you let into it. Date yourself. Take yourself on dates. Buy yourself flowers. Treat yourself the way you want to be treated by a partner. When you're happy alone, you stop accepting crumbs from people who should be offering you a full meal. Start questioning your attractions. When you feel that familiar pull towards someone, pause. Ask yourself, is this attraction based on genuine compatibility, or is it based on familiar patterns that haven't served me well? Are you attracted to their confidence, or their ego, their mystery, or their emotional unavailability, their independence, or their inability to commit? Learn the difference between chemistry and compatibility. Chemistry is what you feel. Compatibility is what you build. You need both for a lasting relationship, but compatibility is more important for long-term happiness. Chemistry without compatibility is just good sex with someone who drives you crazy, in all the wrong ways. Compatibility without chemistry is friendship with someone you respect but don't desire. But chemistry and compatibility together, that's the sweet spot. That's what you're looking for. Stop rushing. Take time to really get to know people before you get emotionally invested. Most people reveal who they are within the first few months. If you're paying attention, don't ignore red flags hoping they'll change color. They won't. Red flags are information, not challenges to overcome. Green flags, on the other hand, are worth paying attention to. Someone who communicates clearly. Someone who keeps their word. Someone who treats service workers kindly. Someone who takes responsibility for their mistakes. Someone who has healthy relationships with their friends and family. These might seem boring compared to the excitement of fixing someone who's emotionally unavailable, but boring people don't break your heart, steal your energy, or waste your time. Sometimes boring is exactly what you need. Let's talk about the people you should be looking for instead. The ones your nervous system might initially reject because they don't activate your familiar patterns of chaos and drama. Look for people who are consistent. Their mood doesn't depend on external circumstances. They're the same person on Monday that they are on Friday. They don't have multiple personalities that you have to navigate. Look for people who communicate directly. They say what they mean and mean what they say. They don't speak in code or expect you to read their mind. When they have a problem, they address it instead of passive-aggressively punishing you for something you don't even know you did. Look for people who have healthy boundaries. They respect your no, and they have their own no's too. They don't try to merge with you or disappear into the relationship. They maintain their own identity while building something together. Look for people who show up consistently. Not just when it's convenient or fun, but when it's hard. When you're sick, when you're stressed, when you're not at your best. They don't disappear when things get real. Look for people who take responsibility for their actions. They apologize when they're wrong. They don't blame everyone else for their problems. They don't make excuses for their behavior or expect you to manage their emotions. Look for people who have their own life, their own friends, interests, goals. They're not looking for you to complete them because they're already whole. They want to share their life with you, not give their life to you. Look for people who are emotionally intelligent. They can identify and express their feelings. They can handle conflict without attacking your character. They can repair relationships when they're damaged. These people might not give you that immediate rush of adrenaline. They might not make your heart race or your palms sweat, but they will make you feel safe. And safety is the foundation of real love. Your nervous system needs to learn that safety isn't boring. It's revolutionary. Here's what nobody talks about. Healing your attraction patterns isn't just about changing who you date. It's about changing who you are. You can't attract emotionally healthy people if you're not emotionally healthy yourself. Like attracts like. And if you're carrying unhealed trauma, you'll keep attracting people who mirror that trauma back to you. This means doing your own work. Going to therapy, healing your childhood wounds. Learning to love yourself unconditionally. Developing secure attachment patterns. Building a life you love independent of romantic relationships. It means becoming the kind of person you want to be with. If you want someone who's emotionally available, you need to be emotionally available. If you want someone who's financially responsible, you need to be financially responsible. If you want someone who's physically and mentally healthy, you need to prioritize your own physical and mental health. This isn't about becoming perfect. Perfect people are boring and probably lying about something. It's about becoming whole, about healing the parts of yourself that are attracting broken people into your life. It's about learning to love yourself so completely that you won't accept partial love from anyone else. The journey isn't easy. You'll have setbacks. You'll catch yourself falling into old patterns. You'll meet someone who activates all your old triggers, and you'll have to consciously choose not to chase them. But every time you make a different choice, you're rewiring your brain. You're teaching your nervous system that love doesn't have to hurt, that relationships can be safe, that you deserve better than what you've been accepting. And slowly, gradually, you'll start attracting different people. People who match your new energy, people who appreciate your worth instead of exploiting your wounds. The quality of your relationships will improve because the quality of your relationship with yourself has improved. This is the real work, not learning better dating strategies or pickup lines or ways to make someone want you, but learning to want yourself so much that you become selective about who gets access to your energy. Now let's address the elephant in the room. The voice in your head that's been arguing with everything I've said so far. But what if I change and I become boring? What if I lose my spark? What if the excitement is gone and I'm left with nothing? Here's the truth. You won't become boring. You'll become discerning. There's a difference. Boring people settle for anyone who shows them attention. Discerning people choose quality over quantity. They'd rather be alone than with the wrong person. The excitement you're afraid of losing isn't real excitement. It's anxiety. It's your nervous system in constant fight or flight mode. Real excitement comes from building something meaningful with someone who sees your worth. But what if I'm meant to be with chaos? What if drama is just part of who I am? Drama isn't a personality trait. It's a trauma response. And trauma responses can be healed. You're not meant to be with chaos. You've just gotten so used to chaos that peace feels foreign. But foreign doesn't mean wrong. It just means different. What if I do all this work and I still don't find anyone? What if I end up alone? Being alone is better than being with the wrong person. And when you truly understand this, when you truly believe it, you stop accepting crumbs from people who should be offering you everything. Also, when you become whole by yourself, you actually become more attractive to healthy people. Desperation repels. Self-sufficiency attracts. What if it's too late? What if I've wasted too much time on the wrong people? It's never too late to change your patterns. Every day is a new opportunity to make different choices. Your past doesn't determine your future unless you let it. The time you spent with the wrong people wasn't wasted. It was education. It taught you what you don't want. Now use that knowledge to make better choices. Here's the thing about changing your attraction patterns. It's not just about who you date. It affects every relationship in your life. When you stop accepting less than you deserve romantically, you stop accepting it everywhere else too. You start setting boundaries with friends who drain your energy. You start speaking up at work when you're being treated unfairly. You start choosing quality over quantity in all your relationships. You become someone who values themselves. And people who value themselves attract other people who value them. This creates an upward spiral. Better relationships lead to better self-esteem, which leads to even better relationships. But it starts with you. It starts with deciding that you deserve better and then acting like it. Let me share a story that illustrates this perfectly. I knew someone who spent years dating emotionally unavailable people. She would meet someone, fall hard, chase them when they pulled away, and then get her heart broken when they chose someone else or just disappeared. She came to me convinced that all the good ones were taken, that she was destined to be alone or settle for someone who didn't really want her. We worked on her patterns. We identified that she was attracted to people who reminded her of her emotionally distant father. We worked on her self-worth. We practiced setting boundaries. We helped her become comfortable being alone. At first, she was terrified. She thought she was going to end up lonely and boring. She worried that no one would want her if she wasn't chasing them. But something interesting happened. As she became more secure in herself, she started attracting different people. People who were actually interested in getting to know her. People who made plans and kept them. People who communicated clearly about their intentions. And yes, at first it felt boring compared to the chaos she was used to. But slowly she realized that boring wasn't the right word. Peaceful was the right word. She ended up in a relationship with someone who chooses her every day. Someone who doesn't make her guess where she stands. Someone who adds to her life instead of complicating it. And the best part? She's happier than she's ever been. Not because she found the perfect person, but because she became a person who attracts and accepts healthy love. This is what's possible for you too. Let's get practical. Here are the specific steps you can start taking today to change your attraction patterns. Step 1. Audit your relationship history. Make a list of your past romantic partners and identify the patterns. What did they have in common? How did they make you feel? What role did you play in each relationship? Look for themes. Were you always the giver and they were always the taker? Were you always chasing and they were always running? Were you always trying to fix them while they were breaking you? Step 2. Identify your triggers. What specific behaviors or characteristics instantly attract you? Someone who's mysterious? Someone who's a challenge? Someone who needs saving? These aren't preferences. These are programs running in your subconscious mind, and programs can be rewritten. Step 3. Connect it back to your childhood. How did your caregivers show love? What did you have to do to get attention or affection? How did conflict get handled in your family? Your romantic relationships are often attempts to heal these early wounds, but you can't heal childhood wounds through adult relationships. You have to heal them directly. Step 4. Start therapy or counseling. I can't stress this enough. You need someone objective to help you see your blind spots and work through your patterns. Step 5. Practice being alone and enjoying it. Take yourself on dates. Develop hobbies. Build a life you love so much that you're selective about who you let into it. Step 6. Raise your standards. Make a list of what you actually need in a relationship, not just what you want. Then refuse to settle for less. Step 7. Practice setting boundaries. Start small. Say no to things you don't want to do. Express your needs without apologizing for having them. Step 8. Pay attention to green flags, not just red ones. Look for people who are consistent, communicate clearly, respect your boundaries, and add value to your life. Step 9. Take things slow. Don't rush into emotional or physical intimacy. Give yourself time to really see who someone is before you get invested. Step 10. Trust your gut. That feeling that tells you something is off, listen to it. Your intuition has access to information your conscious mind hasn't processed yet. This isn't a quick fix. This is a complete rewiring of your nervous system's understanding of what love looks like. It takes time, patience, and self-compassion, but it's the most important work you'll ever do, because your relationship with yourself sets the template for every other relationship in your life. Here's what I want you to understand. You're not broken. You're not damaged goods. You're not destined to repeat the same patterns forever. You've been operating from programming that was installed before you could speak. Programming that was designed to keep you safe in an environment that may no longer exist. Your attraction to the wrong people isn't a character flaw. It's a survival mechanism that's outlived its usefulness. But now that you're aware of it, you can change it. Awareness is the first step toward choice. And choice is the first step toward freedom. You don't have to keep attracting people who hurt you. You don't have to keep chasing people who don't want you. You don't have to keep settling for crumbs when you deserve the whole meal. You can learn to be attracted to people who see your worth, people who choose you consistently, people who add to your life instead of taking from it. This doesn't mean settling for someone you're not attracted to. It means expanding your definition of attractive to include qualities that actually matter for long-term happiness. Kindness is attractive. Emotional intelligence is attractive. Reliability is attractive. The ability to communicate and resolve conflict is attractive. These qualities might not give you that immediate rush of adrenaline, but they will give you something much more valuable, a relationship that actually works. A relationship where you can be yourself without fear of abandonment, where you can express your needs without being made to feel needy, where love is a given, not something you have to earn or prove you deserve. This is what healthy love looks like. And once you experience it, you'll wonder why you ever settled for anything less. The journey to changing your attraction patterns isn't easy. You'll have setbacks. You'll meet someone who activates all your old triggers, and you'll have to consciously choose not to chase them. You'll feel lonely sometimes. You'll wonder if you're being too picky. You'll question whether you're missing out on something by not accepting the chaos you used to call love. But every time you choose yourself over a situation that doesn't serve you, you're building self-respect. You're teaching your nervous system that you're worth waiting for the right person, and the right person is out there. Someone who will appreciate your depth instead of exploiting your wounds. Someone who will see your worth instead of making you prove it. Someone who will choose you not because they need you, but because they want to build something beautiful with you. But first, you have to choose yourself. You have to decide that you deserve better. And then you have to act like it. Stop making excuses for people who don't treat you well. Stop trying to fix people who don't want to be fixed. Stop accepting partial love from people who should be giving you everything. You are worthy of love that feels like peace, not war. Love that enhances your life instead of consuming it. Love that makes you feel more like yourself, not less. This is what you deserve. This is what's possible. But it starts with you recognizing your worth and refusing to accept anything less. The power to change your love life is in your hands. It always has been. You just needed someone to remind you that you have options beyond the patterns that have been running your life. Now you know better. So do better. Your future self will thank you for the work you do today, for the boundaries you set, for the standards you raise, for the healing you commit to, because love isn't supposed to be confusing or painful. It's not supposed to make you question your worth or lose yourself in someone else's chaos. Love is supposed to feel like coming home to yourself, to someone who sees you clearly and chooses you anyway. That's what you're working toward. That's what's waiting for you on the other side of healing your attraction patterns. And it's worth every uncomfortable moment of growth you'll go through to get there. So start today. Start now. Your happy, healthy, fulfilling love life is waiting for you to claim it. But first, you have to believe you deserve it. Because you do. You absolutely do.